Item 16 is a public hearing. It is a short-form rent increase application for the Escondido Mobile Park West.
Back.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and members of the Rent Review Board. Chad Kassenheiser is the park owner's representative and property manager, and he would like to address the board. Joseph Parrish is the Homeowners Association vice president, and he would like to address the board on the behalf of the residents. And I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions at this point? All right. Then Chad Kassenheiser.
Good evening, Council, Honorable Mayor. Thank you very much for having us and looking at this application for the short-form rent increase. I know that with the current economy, an increase is the last thing that most people want to hear about, and I know it is tough on people. However, we do feel that in the past we've been quite fair. The rents are quite low compared to the surrounding community. In the past 10 years, we have been granted 2 increases. One was a long-form increase in 2006, in which we were granted a $37.53 increase. As you are all aware of the long-form application, there were numerous experts that were asked to appraise the property and surrounding properties and figure out a fair increase amount at that time. There were a couple different experts. There was Ken Barr, the city appraiser, Mr. Brabant, and the parks appraiser, John Neat. They all agreed that increase amounts at that time could range from $54 to $89. As a park, we got 37. We were happy with that amount. We felt that was fair as well. However, I do think it's important to note that the next increase was not applied for until 2008, in which we were granted an $18.53 increase. With those combined increases for that 10-year period, we have just barely reached the low point of those appraisers' estimated values for the land and the recommended increase amounts that they provided. Now, it was noted that the average rent in there is $397, and we do feel that it has been 2.5 years about before this could possibly go into effect. That at $11.60 a month for that period is quite justifiable. We're trying to continue to improve the park and maintain it for the residents, doing so by many different avenues. This year especially, we have a lot of street work that is planned. We have over $60,000 budgeted this year, another $60,000 already approved for the budget next year. That we also have many driveway repairs, and so a lot of tree work, and much of this money is going back to the community so that we continue to let it exist and let people live in their homes and have a nice place to live. As Michelle had stated, we have been going through this process for a few months. At the first meeting, there were about 25 residents that showed up to that meeting that were concerned about the increase in the process. And actually Jamie Kasvikas was there and did a great job helping answer many of those questions. And the bulk of the questions that evening were actually as to the calculation of the increase as opposed to combating the actual increase amount. We have all determined that that is the accurate increase amount and the accurate CPI calculation. After this meeting, as the city has mentioned that they would like us to really try to get together with the residents and the board and try to reach a compromise. I did sit down with Mr. Anderson and a couple of the other board members. We discussed their proposal. They proposed a 1.5% increase with no argument. Unfortunately, the park does feel that that is a rather low increase for the amount of time considered and with the level of rents in the park. And even with the current state of the economy, we still feel that we are extremely competitive, if not below what should be the market. What we did discuss is some of their issues have been with the maintenance and the communication between the staff and the residents, and they felt that there sometimes is more of a combative approach as opposed to a good communication and working together for the general good of the park to improve the premises. I've agreed now to come down every month to just sit down with Mr. Anderson, who is the HOA president, the vice president, Joseph Parrish, and the other board members also include the on-site staff to discuss how we might be able to work better together as opposed to an us versus them mentality, which seems to have presented itself. Both Mr. Anderson and Mr. Parrish have been very great in working with me on that, and we've also decided that they should be involved come budget time as well. Many times the park thinks things are important that the residents frankly don't really care about, and this way maybe we can find out what's truly important to them, and this can help us move forward in order to create a better environment for everybody. The inspection was completed, and I understand that some of the HOA has contested the manner of the inspection. I just like to say that the park itself actually doesn't have anything to do with the inspection. We can only go by the guidelines of the city staff and what they tell us to do. And we actually have a crew out there today working on many of those items. And they will, of course, if this increase is granted, be completed before any increase is put into effect. Unfortunately, actually, also today we have encountered a water leak. A resident did bust a water riser this afternoon. It's not the best timing or circumstances, but these do happen, and that's why our on-site manager and maintenance supervisor is out at the park currently. He couldn't be here tonight. They're having a plumber out there with some emergency repairs so we can get everybody their full water service as quickly as possible. Overall, I really feel that we do deserve this small increase. I believe it is a fair amount for the quality of the park and the service that the residents get, and I think that if the park and the residents can continue to work together, we're only going to improve the property, and I think that this is a justifiable request, and I hope that you see the same.
All right.
With that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Parrish?